With a number of COVID-19 cases on the rise throughout the state of Texas, there have been more and more requests regarding the upcoming school year. While we still don't have all the answers, we'll be publishing episodes weekly to provide what information we do have and keep you updated on the 2021 school year. I'm Andrew Kim, Superintendent of Schools for the Comal Independent School District. Joining me today are my regular co-hosts, Joe McKenna, our Executive Director for School Safety and Prevention and all sorts of things of that nature. And we also have a very special guest here today, Sally McDonald, who is our coordinator working with our help desk and working with solving a lot of the first week opening of our school. So thank you guys for both of you for joining us. So I thought that for one, that it would be appropriate to kind of talk about the first week. Just looking at it from a help desk perspective, I know that we had close to 1,600 or so phone calls in one day when we first opened up on August the 25th, largely due to remote learning issues, logging informations, and things of that nature. So we had a lot of that. I will tell you that just from a campus perspective, we just so appreciate all the students wearing the mask. Even the little ones, kindergarten, pre-K students were wearing all the masks, all sorts of colorful masks, superhero masks, but really do appreciate that very much. So it was in many ways, great to see that being done. But certainly we want to talk about from Sally's perspective, some of the things that you're seeing behind the scenes there. So Sally, why don't you kind of give us unscripted, by the way, just your thoughts about what you saw, what you're hearing the first week of school.
It all started off pretty typical problems with people needing help signing in to ClassLink and Google and just navigating through the whole remote learning systems. As we've gone through the week and solved a lot of that, we now are having a few things with scheduling and a little more in-depth type questions now. So we're trying to solve those. They're not as quick to be solved. They're not issues that we can just answer and hang up and be finished with that. So we're working on getting all those resolved as we speak.
Now, if I recall, though, I think we had close to about 11,000 or so on the first day, second day, who logged into ClassLink, Google Classroom, Seesaw Pro, which is our LMS, or Learning Management System, the Google Classroom. So the sort of the bridge to get to all of those things is what we call ClassLink. So ClassLink is our one-stop shop area where all of our different apps and different things that software systems that all of our students and our teachers can use. So, but really the issue came down to, I think, Sally, the issue about some of our brand new students or students who may have changed their transcripts, or we have a lot of different things that we're a little bit confused on that issue, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So we have kids that have made a change in their schedule or that have made a change to their IDO, whether they have signed up for on campus and then decided to be remote, is where we're having those issues. Because every time a change is made, we have to rerun the systems, and that takes time. It's not a system that can update in a few minutes. It takes hours to update because it goes through several systems of loading into one and then uploading into another and then another. So it takes about 24 hours to finalize that whole process. So anytime a change is made, it causes some delays.
Yeah, that's a great point. I forgot to point that out because our obviously Google Classroom, Seesaw Pro, as well as our ClassLink, we made a strategic decision about a year ago to host most of these and all of these things, even our email systems, offline or in the cloud, if you will. So we don't have servers physically here in our district to manage this because, one, just the efficiency of it, the cost factors, and so on and so on. So the third-party vendors have to upload these things and correct these things, and that's what takes time. Right. Every time we do make some changes. So I think that's something we learn, of course. None of our systems fail, though. We did once again have many people on it. It's just that we had several folks who made those changes at the last minute that we were having some scheduling issues with, I think. So we still have the help desk, and just kind of describe the help desk. I mean, I know we have a lot of folks there.
Sure. We've got about 20 phones back there, and most days we have them full, and they ring and ring and ring. So I know there are probably more calls coming in than we are able to answer. So I apologize for those busy signals because we are overloaded, I think, with some calls. Now, it seems to slow down a little bit now, but we have less people this week back there, and we are back there, and we are trying to answer every call that comes in and actually trying to solve those issues as they come in. Unless it's a system issue that takes some time, we can't keep them on the phone, of course, for that. But we've got up to 20 phones back there, and they're ringing all the time. So we are able to take quite a few. I think out of those, the first day we had 15,000 calls, and that's a lot for 20 people to answer. But we're doing the best we can, and I think the ladies are doing great. Back there's consistently the same group of people, so they have the answers down now, and hopefully are able to help all the calls that come in.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we did was to make sure we diverted the calls to the campuses to the help desk, because we wanted to centralize those calls and really give principals and front office staff and campus staff to really worry about, really take care of kids, arrival and dismissal time period. So, and we will keep up with the help desk for some time and keep on solving issues. I predict that we probably will have some additional calls when we do the second round of changes for every parent out there, and sometime in October when we just do the grade change again and a decision again for remote learning or on-campus learning. But all in all, I got to tell you though, from our end, from the help desk perspective, certainly we anticipated these questions. There were going to be a lot. We gave out a bunch of directions, but certainly I think, obviously some parents may have not seen some of those. So we'll have to keep on communicating more and more. But once again, a good start in terms of just at least launching the help desk. And we're working through all those things, and a dramatic decrease in terms of the number of calls. That's great. Joe, I know that since we opened, of course, we've been talking a lot about case management because that's just part of it. We're going to have cases, and we do. Mm-hmm. But we do have more exposure to the cases. So I want to say that we are erring on the side of caution.
Absolutely.
More so than anything else to really quarantine as many people as we can.
Sure.
So kind of give us an update on where we are on that in terms of just, are you seeing anything different than what we envisioned, I guess, in the process, I guess, when we first launched the school year?
No, and I think that's kind of the first point I wanted to make that you made is we have to think of, and perhaps we didn't frame it like this in the beginning, but case management we really need to look at as a preventative measure, not a response, right? So when we quarantine people, it is to prevent a large spread or an outbreak that could close a school. So we are being, we're following state guidelines, but we're being more conservative, I guess, in terms of identifying close contacts and those that are experiencing symptoms, just because we don't want that person to become positive, be on a campus. So we have to think of case management from a preventative lens. Good thing is, first week, our process worked well. We were able to identify some individuals, staff and students that we needed to exclude for a period of time to make sure that the rest of our campus was going to be safe and able to operate. So I'm happy to say that worked well. We got our district team here is doing a great job. Our campus case manager doing an excellent job. Small things, we need to tweak here and there, and we're working on those changes. But overall, the process held up pretty good.
Yeah, and I think just once again reiterating that we are certainly taking a more of a preventive, err on the side of caution approach, because I'd rather have quarantine a smaller group now as opposed to having a major problem down the road if we don't do some of those things. So we are making sure we're actively doing that, and I certainly do appreciate the phone calls that are being made to those that we are individually calling as part of this, those who've been exposed as we do case management. And the response has been very grateful in many ways and understanding as well. So we really do appreciate that quite a bit. I know there's been some additional discussion though about, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but the issue about masks relative to distancing. Let's kind of try to talk about that in terms of the actual state guidelines on this. I know this has been confusing in many ways.
Very
the
much
state TEA has changed it a couple of times on us leading into August 25th. So that has contributed to some additional confusion as well, too.
Yeah. When TEA first, I think it's important to kind of historically see where this definition has gone. And what we're talking about is the definition of who is a close contact to someone who's positive and how the mask factors into that. So in early July, when TEA put out their first guidance, the mask was something that prevented you from being a close contact. A few weeks after that, about 2 weeks after that, TEA changed that guidance and they removed the mask piece. Basically, that 6 feet, 15 minutes was a close contact. First part of August, that first week of August, is when they put in place the current definition, which says 6 feet, 15 minutes. It does say that other factors can be considered. In follow-up conversations with TEA, why they put that in there was, should evidence come out from a Duke Medical School or some university or doctor that says the mask makes you not a close contact, the state doesn't have to change their guidance. It gives us the ability as a school district to go ahead and implement that. But currently from federal, state, and local, yes, the mask is effective in reducing the spread of the virus. So, students walking down hallways, perhaps they sneeze, right? That's going to help prevent that. But what it does not prevent is you being a close contact, you being close to someone who is positive. At this point, based on the evidence that we have, you're still considered a close contact.
So when you are a close contact, then even though you're wearing a mask, you have to be quarantined according to our rules right now and TEA guidelines. And I think that's a tough part. Some of our parents are having a hard time understanding on that. But once again, that's more of a prevention issue. That's one that we got to remember. And the mask in itself is very important because it does mitigate that.
Absolutely.
But it's a combination also of distancing. So in a classroom situation, for example, if you are wearing a mask and you were somewhat distant 6 feet away or further as appropriate, that it can be done.
Yeah.
Then actually you don't have to be quarantined.
Correct.
But if you were close, sitting next to somebody, even though you wear a mask, if they're positive, then we're going to treat it as an exposure or close contact situation.
Correct.
That we're going to have to go ahead and quarantine, which is what the interpretation of the rules are at this point.
Correct.
And I think that causes some level of confusion, heartburn in many ways. In many ways, I understand because kids want to be in school, kids want to be part of extracurriculars, and so they want to be part of it. But we are trying to be preventive, and our goal this school year is to mitigate any type of situation of a spread of a virus, because we want to have school on a day-to-day basis as long as we can. So we're going to have to really abide by that. And other school districts that I've talked to have really abiding by that same rule as well too at this time. So, but it does present a level of confusion, I think, sometimes. And so it's not just one thing. Obviously, the mask is very important, but it's a combination of things.
Correct. Yeah, it's a collection of different strategies. And certainly the close contact definition could change. It's changed 3 times in a month and a half. So as we learn more about the virus, TEA may change that definition again.
Yeah, and frankly, this is frustrating on our part just as much because we're giving guidances from TEA, which is based on CDC guidances, so that's part of it. But this is why we've been very consistent about following TEA guidances. That is a basis off the CDC and the state Department of Health and Human Services guidelines. And having different guidelines from different counties and whatnot, that gets really confusing. So we've been very consistent about what we follow statewide and just what we need to take care of. I know that once again, just to, the first week was 4 days. We got a lengthy week, a full week this week into Labor Day weekend. I really wanted to just remind folks that we really have to take care of making good decisions when we're outside of school, making sure that we don't gather together We're going to have to make a small sacrifice right now to not to do those things in order for us to have school on a day-to-day basis, because it just, right now the randomness of how this virus spreads is concerning. And so I know that the traditional things that we like to do is get together Friday nights and Saturdays and Sundays, and Labor Day weekend is a big one. So really encouraging people to make good decisions and not to social gather. I hate to say that, but it is something we're going to have to do. We're going to have to really just be mindful of making some good decisions on that. So once again, you've been listening to the Comal ISD Radio. Join us next time as we talk about the opening of schools and how that's going. I would like to invite a principal and a teacher into here to talk about that from their perspective. Until next time, thank you for joining once again.